would like to welcome everybody on today's webinar. So I'm Josef from the OpenLM support team. I will be host for today's webinar and let's go through it. So um, this webinar will be about our OpenLM platform version, the latest one, and we will go through the information, how we collect the data, which components we are utilizing for the collection data, which data we can collect, and how they can be used. So our new platform was developed for better understanding the licensing, not only the engineering licenses, but also other licenses that companies can have in their portfolio. We are also focusing on the SaaS licenses in case of a new OpenLM platform, and therefore you can get all the information also from the engineering licenses, also from the non-engineering application, and from the SaaS applications. So OpenLM have multiple ways how to collect data from license managers or from other sources of the information. So first one is OpenLM Broker. This is like main component for the engineering applications. So we are basically gathering all the information from the license managers for the broker. Then we have Workstation Agent. This is for the collecting information from the end user workstation. Then we have Cloud Broker. Cloud Broker, as its name suggests, is for collecting information from the SaaS applications. And then we have DSA, which is Directory Synchronization Agent. And this one is responsible for gathering information from your Active Directory. So let's start with the first component, which is OpenLM Broker. So how it works is that OpenLM Broker is collecting data from your license managers, which are installed on the license server. On the physical server or virtual machine, it doesn't matter for the broker. As long as it has connection to OpenLM platform, it can collect the data and send information to OpenLM platform. All the data are coming to OpenLM gateway, and from the gateway, it is sorted to responsible microservices and databases. So main purpose of the OpenLM Broker is collection of usage data. So OpenLM Broker is using native tools to gather the information from the license manager. So it is, for example, in case of FlexLM, it is using LMUtil tool, and it can get information about the usage executing commands from the LMUtil tool. One thing to mention, you need only one broker on the license server or on the virtual machine or physical server, and it will collect data from all license managers that you have on that particular server. So you don't need to have like 20 brokers if you have 20 license managers, just one on that machine, and it will collect all the data. OpenLM Broker has a few benefits. For example, one is the auto detect feature. So basically, OpenLM Broker can auto detect license managers that you have installed on that machine. It will scan for the port usage. If you have any installations, for example, DSLS, FlexLM, and so on. And then it will try to set up everything at its own to give you the collection of the data to the OpenLM. In case some license manager are not found or are not correctly set up, we have our documentation page where we have all the guides how to manually set up the license manager. Another thing that broker have is a buffering option. So in case something is wrong with the network, or maybe OpenLM platform is down or upgrading or under the maintenance, OpenLM Broker will buffer all the data collected from the license managers, and when connection is established, it will send all the data to OpenLM platform. OpenLM Broker can also access various of the license files. For example, it can access debug log files. In case of FlexLM, from the debug log files, we are getting information like denials. It can access option files. You can get information from the option files, for example, about the groups, about the reservations into the OpenLM, but also OpenLM platform can edit the option files through the broker. So you don't need to access the license servers directly or to change the text files. You can do it from our platform in our web UI. Then OpenLM Broker can also access the license files, same as for the option files. OpenLM can upload OpenLM platform can upload new license files through the broker and then reread the license manager. So this way you can get like a centralized license management system without accessing the servers itself. Just small installation of the broker, connection to the platform, and then you can manage all your licenses through the broker. You can also download the files through the broker in case you want to see which licenses you have there and so on, or if you need the files for any post-processing or debugging. We are supporting currently over 90 license managers, which is like 10,000 of the applications. I can mention some of them, for example, FlexLM, DSLS, CodeMeter, and so on. So this was regarding the OpenLM broker. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the question Q&A window. Next thing which we have is OpenLM Workstation Agent. So OpenLM Workstation Agent is basically for the monitoring of the executable of the application or application itself on the end user computer. So for example, in case of OpenLM Broker, we are monitoring like licensing part of the application. But for the Workstation Agent, we are monitoring application itself. Therefore, it needs to be installed on end user machine. I need to mention that this one is optional. It's not like mandatory to have, but it will give you like more control and more information about your usage. So, as I mentioned before, end user OpenLM Workstation Agent need to be installed on the end user machine. So every machine need to have one Workstation Agent. Workstation Agent is monitoring executable application. It can get information about how many resources are consumed by the application from the workstation. And based on this information, we can determine if the application is idle or not. This brings us to idle time monitoring. So in our UI, you can get information about the idle times. So if somebody check out the license and maybe go out and didn't release the license to the pool, he let the application running, just in case maybe he will not get the application in the future. OpenLM can show you that this application was idle, was just in the background and doing nothing, and so on. In case he is running some simulations, in that case, it's drawing power from or resources from the machine, and it will not be marked as the idle. We can also monitor standalone application using this method. So we can monitor basically any executable of on that machine. So for example, if you want to monitor Notepad, it is possible. If you monitor the calculator, if you want to monitor any standalone application that is on the machine, it's possible through Workstation Agent. Workstation Agent can also monitor like DLL files and directory and the directories which are opened on the machine. So, for example, in some cases, license manager is not like consuming new license when some add-ons are loaded or something like that. So, for example, I think We have one case in the Bentley. When the Bentley is loading some of the add-ons, it will load just the DLL file. It will not consume the license. And you can monitor the DLL files, and it will give you that specific add-ons are running and so on. For the directory monitoring, you can specify specific directories in the computer, and if somebody accesses the directory, it will show you the alert, or it will show you in the another function of the workstation agent is harvesting of the idle licenses. So basically, when we get the information from the application that is idle, you can set up the harvesting of the licenses manually, or you can set up the automation. So what the harvesting is basically save the work, close the application, release licenses to the pool. So we have three options. First one is that I mentioned, save and close. So it can save the work, close the application, release license to the pool. Other option is suspend and resume. So we can suspend the application on the Windows level, for example, release license to the pool, and when the engineer came back to the computer, he can resume the application even from the event manager or from the OpenLM workstation agent personal dashboard UI. There will be marked as the suspended session, and they will be able to resume the work that way in case the license is available. If not, they will need to wait. And last option that we have for the harvesting is simple kill command. So we can kill the application in brute force kill. Nothing is saved, and just killing the application. This can be done manually from our UI, or you can set up automatic harvesting based on the time. So for example, you can set up if somebody is idle for 30 minutes or 1 hour. It solely depends on your preferences. Let's harvest these licenses. Let's save the work and close the application. You can also set up a threshold, for example, for the utilization of the licenses. So for example, harvest only if somebody is 1 hour idle, and the utilization is of the licenses are more than 80% or more than 60%. It depends what you prefer, because sometimes you don't need to harvest licenses in case just 10%, 20% of the licenses are checked out. But when you are getting to higher utilization, and you can start the harvest of the idle licenses and get some free spots for other users. Workstation agent have also option to monitor dongles. So if somebody put in dongle, Workstation agent can get you information about the dongle number, serial number, and so on. You can also blacklist the dongles, that you will get information if dongle which is blacklisted are appearing in the system. So for example, you lost the dongle, you put it or report it to the vendor as lost, so he will provide another one. But in case somebody found the dongle and put it into the system, it can lead to the breach of contract and some fines. So in that case, you get the notification from the agent that this dongle was found, and you can act accordingly. We have also option to monitor the projects. So basically, how it works, you can create your own project, you can assign it to the people, and then they can when they run the application, they can choose from the projects they had assigned that, okay, I will be working on the project one, and all the usage from that specific session will be tied with the project one or project B or project C, depending what is needed. There is also option to let the users create the projects, but in big companies this can lead to lot of similar names of the projects for the same one. So sometimes it's better just to create a few projects for them and let them choose from it. Another option that we have in the workstation agent is web monitoring. So Basically, we can monitor the web pages which are accessed on that machine. There are a discovery option and the endpoint creation and monitoring. So basically, in discovery option, OpenLM agent will monitor which web pages are accessed. It will give you all the information about how many times the web pages were accessed. And based on this information, you can create endpoints. So if you create endpoints from the specific web page, it will be shown in the OpenLM as separate license manager, and you will see the usage from that endpoint onwards. And last thing that we have, as I mentioned before, is personal dashboard. So it's basically UI for the end users, and they can choose the projects there. They can see if their licenses was harvested. They can resume harvested license and so on. You can also allow them to see license inventory or how many licenses are currently checked out, how many licenses are available. So they can see like overview about the system in the personal dashboard. All of this is customizable, so you can decide what they will see and what not. Okay, I think that was all regarding the workstation agent. Let's go to next one, which is a cloud broker. As I mentioned before, in the OpenLM platform, we also opt for a SaaS application monitoring. For that one, sorry, we created new component which is called Cloud Broker. Cloud Broker is running as the service under the OpenLM platform, and in the Cloud Broker, you can set up monitoring of SaaS services, for example, Office 365, Alta, JS, and so on. So Cloud Broker is basically getting information from these application web UIs or APIs, depending what they provided and what we can connect to. And you can get various informations from these applications, from the usage to entitlements and so on. So in case some application from some cloud services we get, for example, just entitlements and so on, you can pair it with the workstation agent, and workstation agent can actually monitor the usage of the application, and you will get all the entitlements from the cloud service. So they can work together to get you like better information about your cloud usage. We are currently supporting 50 plus SaaS platforms, and we are adding more. We have a dedicated a development team that is adding new platforms if needed. It's based on the customer feedback or requirements if they need a new platform added or not. Same goes for the OpenLM broker. If there is some change in the license manager, we are fixing it or editing the monitoring. If there are requirements for the new license manager that we are not supporting, we are also working on that one. Okay. Last thing that we have on the plate is directory synchronization agent. So basically, what the directory synchronization agent is doing is working as the middleman between your Active Directory and OpenLM platform. So we are currently supporting these Active Directories, which is Active Directory AWS, Directory Apache DS, Microsoft Entra, Google CDS, Okta, and the NIST directory. So how it works? So basically, Workstation Agent will connect to your Active Directory, and then you set up synchronization in your OpenLM platform. So from the OpenLM broker or from the Workstation Agent, you will get just the host name of the application. You will not get not host name, like a username of the user, which is using the application. But you will not get additional informations like first name, last name, emails, departments, groups, country, and so on. So In the OpenLM platform, you can set up synchronization, which give you these informations based on the username provided from OpenLM database. So DSA will scan for the usernames based on the sync attribute that you set up, and every user with that username will get the data to OpenLM database. You can also choose which data will be collected. So, for example, if you want just the first name, last name, and for example, groups or security groups or organization units, you can sync just this information, and DSA will get this data to OpenLM platform. You can also create a groups based on this information. So if you want to create a group based on the organization unit or based on the country, OpenLM platform with directory synchronization service will tell the DSA to pull the data, and that it will create the groups based on this information. So based on this, OpenLM can do a lot of things. For example, you can automatically update option files based on the AD groups change. So if something is changed in the AD, somebody leave the company and so on, it will be changed in the Active Directory. And in next scan of the DSA, the user which is removed is also removed, for example, from the option file, and it then is reflected in the license manager, so they will no longer have access to that specific features and so on. You can also decide in case we are not monitoring by the default specific attribute, you can change it in the DSA settings. So you can basically get any attribute from the Active Directory and put it into OpenLM database. Okay. So regarding the engineering licenses that we are supporting, here are a few of them. Everything can be accessed from our documentation page if you choose OpenLM platform. If you go to data collection and then you have engineering license managers, then you can see all the license managers that we are currently supporting. Same goes for the SaaS platforms. You will just choose the SaaS platforms in our documentation and you can see all the information. Yeah, as I mentioned before, if you click, for example, on one of the license manager here, we can see documentation how to set it up in the broker. So this can help you with setup, the monitoring, and so on. Let's go back to slideshow, and now it's time for the questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to write them in the chat or just raise your hand and we can talk about any information that you would like to know about how we collect the data. If there are no questions, I can go to the next slide. So next slide is about the upcoming webinar. So if you like my webinar, you can also check my colleague Dominic webinar. He will be talking about how to set up your OpenLM system. So it will be something like first steps when you register for our cloud, how to install the broker, how to set up first license manager, and how to start your monitoring. It will be a quick workshop-like webinar where he show on the live system how you can start the monitoring and start with the OpenLM. Okay, so I think that was all from my side. Um, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us on the sales or support email. I wish you a great day, and that's all from my side. Thank you.